Hello and welcome to Refuse. As always, I'm Plume Noir, and here we have Heroes in Crisis number 9, the final issue of the series, where we see that Tom King has taken everything and has put it all together, and it all makes sense. The murder mystery, the mental health, it all comes together, and I can't even say it with a straight face. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. Tom King tried to make a limited series here, a story about the mental health of heroes and villains, the strain that this life would take on them, the decisions that weigh on them, the kind of, the flip side of with great power comes great responsibility. How much does that responsibility weigh on you? What happens when you lose things? Did he succeed? No, he didn't. He did not. He was also telling a murder mystery, and who done it, and who is this behind the murders, and what do they have to gain, and why are they sending information to Lois Lane, and who are the puddlers? And he failed that too. It He failed this on so many levels. Um, Now we find out in the last issue that Wally did it accidentally. It was not like a premeditated murder. He did not just snap and decide to kill everyone like uh, um, the Plutonian and um, Irredeemable. Just trying to remember the name of that series. No, this was accidental. This is a character who because of Flashpoint lost his family. Lost his wife, lost his kids, um, and he's being held up as um, the new sign of hope. Hope is back. There's even references to this being the rebirth. His return. There's a lot weighing on his shoulders, and sorry, when I film in the daytime, my bird loses his mind. So sorry about that. And he fails on this. Instead, we have a Wally West that has killed people. And not even in the Hal Jordan way where, oh, maybe down the line it could be retconned and, it was actually the parallax fear bug in him and, it'll be made okay. No, the character's been tainted. Why? People love Wally West. That was one of the things after Flashpoint, that people were complaining about, myself included. I was around back during the original Crisis. Sounds like I was involved in it, right? And I was a little bit weird about it. Like Barry Allen died. Oh my God! Now we have this new Wally West. Well, not the same, the same Wally West, but now Kid Flash is now Flash. And I followed his series, and by the time it got to William Messner Loebs, and then up to Mark Waid, it got really good. I started to like Wally West more than Barry Allen. And I think that has pretty much continued on. In fact, since Barry Allen has returned, he's pretty much just kind of like a Wally West character. Bits of Wally's personality has just been transferred over to him. Even back in the 1990, 91 Flash TV show with John Wesley Shipp. It was pretty much Barry Allen, even though he was dead at the time. Only for a couple years, though. It's weird how time slides like that. But he was pretty much Wally's personality. And I haven't watched the current Flash TV show that's on CW, but I've heard that it's a lot like that. But anyway, I'm going way off topic. This book, the good thing is it's over. The series is over. It makes no goddamn sense, but it's over. We do have Clay Mann back, doing the full issue, which is good. Although his art seems a little rushed, especially in the little portraits when they're doing their confessional scenes, which there's a lot more in this one. And also we see a lot more characters. And there's some running jokes in there, how all the Robins see one another. Kind of cute. There's a scene with Red Tornado talking about, maybe building a family. Yeah, haha, it's a reference to the Vision series. So yeah, there's some cute bits in there. But the rest of the book, oh God. So again, we start off with the confessional scenes, and like I said, some of them are kind of interesting. One point here is we do have the French here, which is basically the phrase, those whom the gods would destroy, they would first drive mad. It's about as subtle as a brick, right? So yeah, we have some of the little things, like Dove, complaining about Hawk. Why do I have to control him? He's not my responsibility in any way. But still, what happens? Like every time. You have Guy Gardner. It should have been me right from the beginning. What's wrong with me? Well, yeah, he was when what the hell's driving down the road. This is why I don't do videos in the daytime. Um, when the Green Lantern ring came down, it had two choices, that were both equally worthy. Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan. It chose Hal because he was closer. That was it. Um, so yeah, this would be something that would weigh on his mind, and I think it's been touched on in the past. And of course, you have these things here, like my head is on fire. I shouldn't joke. This is serious. I'm taking this seriously. So seriously, my head is on fire. And little nods here, like Guardian saying, um, whatever it is, whatever happens, I'm not Superman. Well, Guardian was first created was actually an identity for Superman. So it's kind of a callback. There's little Easter eggs like that in there. And we get this page. Now, normally, yeah, I don't really talk about the colors a lot. Because I'm kind of the opinion that I think we've gone too far with the digital coloring. Uh, Hear me out. It looks great, but a lot of times it's really not worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of effort put in for not the good enough results that would be perfectly fine still in 4 color. I plan to address that in another video. But you look at this, this is beautiful. I mean, this is stunning. I have to admit, and there are a few things like that. When Clayman's art it looks good. It looks really good. Um, so we come back to the two Wallys. We have 5 days older Wally, who he went and did his his thing, and he's going to have young Wally is going to kill the older Wally. And he's explaining everything. It's time travel. It's weird, and he tells him, plant the rose. Find it, plant it. Yeah, I guess that's it. And as it gets ready to, snap the old Wally's neck, we see a shadow coming down, and the bug, Blue Beetle's bug, just crashes on him. Okay, that solves that problem, right? No, not really. You see the energy shoot away, so I guess they ran out of the way. Um, so yeah, we have Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, yeah, Harley Quinn, and Batgirl are coming to save the Flashes, and we get more of the confessional scenes, little insights into the characters, but in a way it doesn't matter. You know, almost be interested if they did a Sanctuary limited series with the characters coming in with more than just one panel. Whether it be continuing the joke of all the Robins or Hal Jordan say, let's be honest, I don't even know what the hell Will is. Do you? That's kind of a neat little thing here. Sandra Kane just sitting there silent. Um, then we get this big hero moment, coming out and, here to save the day. Where we have Batgirl pretty much trying to sum things up. Best guess, he did it, framed Booster and Harley using the chamber, then killed his future self to get a body to complete the frame, which is what we're seeing now, what we just interrupted. Seems legit. My birthday party last year kind of played out almost exactly like that. Yeah, you see, they've gone back, especially Tom King's gone back to playing dumb Booster Gold. He did it in the Batman book just before the supposed wedding with Catwoman. There was like a 3-issue story with Booster Gold trying to give a gift to Batman, and it's like no one cares about the Booster Gold series pre-Flashpoint, where he did mature. I miss that Booster. Although I am happy to see Harley in this costume. I don't like the current costume. I do like this. This is much better. Um, so yeah, they get out and Harley sees Poison Ivy, or at least the rebirth of Poison Ivy, and they have a little reunion. And again, it's a great panel. It's a great, beautiful page. And then we go right back into the confessional. And like I said, you see it seems a little bit rushed. But I guess when you have just static images of people facing, you just kind of phone it in. And then you get the two Wallys talking, and something occurred to me while reading this panel. So, young Wally's saying, I have to kill you. And older Wally, 5-day older Wally, saying, I know you do, because you messed up, because you're hurting, but most of all, because you're alone. And that's but the thing is, it's pretty much everything. And I swear it's true. I swear, even it sounds like a lie right now. Even if you feel it in your heart, it's just made up crap. But you just have to have dumb faith in dumb me being smarter than dumb you. Now, here's where I kind of had a problem. Now, I guess granted that, maybe he can sense that it's him on some level, but how many times have there been some type of villain that has, taken control of someone's mind or whatever? How does he know he's not being manipulated into killing an innocent civilian that's just saying that they're the older Wally? It's something I read during this. And, in his fragile state, he'd be easy to manipulate that way. But no. So, are they going to die? Is he going to kill him? No. No. Kid, you're not alone. So we get this touching scene where the two Wallys are, the younger Wally's comforting the older Wally, because now, excuse me, I have a cough coming. The older Wally, has decided to live because at some point Brewster has explained things to him. Where this happens, I'm really not quite sure. Because it seemed at the whole beginning of this, excuse me, I told you that cough was coming, that the older Wally, needs to be killed by the younger Wally to complete the loop. So we get a bunch of dialogue how older Wally is telling him, you're not the only one who tried to do something good, but ended up doing something horrible. You're not the only one who's been hurt so bad that the hurt becomes a part of you as much as you hate it, that the hurt is you. You're not the only one who was betrayed by a friend, who's had the person they thought they could trust forever end their life. So you get the, Joker, Max Lord. You're not the only one who felt the madness creep in. The interesting part is Ivy. You're not the only one who's done some terrible things, who will now try forever to make up for that harm. As bad as it is, we're in it together. So, okay, fine. Now, here's the thing here. Remember Wally was in Sanctuary? So he was attending Sanctuary, trying to deal with this. But it took killing all the people and, wandering around for 5 days, I guess, for older Wally to have his therapeutic epiphany. Tom, I think you might be screwing up your fable here, your Aesop fable, your what's the word I'm looking for? Your moral here. I think you're undermining your own moral when all the therapy that he went through at Sanctuary, it didn't do any good. He had to kill people, accidentally, and then wander around for a few days to finally have his, breakthrough moment of clarity. So, and then the book, I do like to see fire and ice here. As long as I have ice, as long as I have fire. Oh yeah, what is it with Tom King? He's the only one that really, has Kyle Rayner speaking Spanish, really focusing on the Latin part of Kyle's heritage, which wasn't even really a thing in the beginning. It kind of got added later. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to Tom King, I loved Omega Men. Um, but Kyle became really Christian, really Catholic in that one, which I don't recall that ever coming up before. But little rants, little nitpicks. Um, so we'll go on, and now it's a whole bunch of explaining. They locked me up for what I did. So I did what I did. I didn't want to. I just couldn't. I needed time. I knew I was already lost. I was all I could think of, and I came here to complete it, to kill you, me, because maybe by dying I can help a few other people who are still living. So he's trying to explain his plan, like up here. Um, I could show them about Sanctuary, tell them what I'd done, what the people they called heroes had done, and if they knew we were making mistakes, getting help, what that help meant, what happens when you don't get help. Again, you're undermining your point. Wally, you went to Sanctuary, you were getting help, and you killed everyone. It wasn't until after you killed everyone without Sanctuary's help that you had your breakthrough. This is what I mean by this is not when Tom King set out to write a story about mental health and getting treatment and the good of that, he's undermining his own fable here. Um, and so yeah, I'm not going to go on too much further because now we have what do we do with the two Wallies? So they come up with this idea of Booster's idea going to the future, to the 25th century, making a speed clone. Now, when they first say it, use a speed clone. I thought they meant like, couldn't Bart do that? Actually, make clones out of the Speed Force when he was Impulse? Couldn't he do that? I thought that's what they meant first. No, no, they meant they're going to quickly make a clone of the older Wally so that he's 5 days older than younger Wally, and use that body at Sanctuary. So that means they killed the clone. So now Wally, most Wallys, I guess, are now murderers. Um, Batgirl, Harley Quinn, Blue and Gold, they're all now accomplices to this clone murder. Um, because are clones people? I'm not sure what the legal status of clones is in the DC universe. Of clones are in the DC universe. Maybe that's not really murder. Maybe that's more like uh, I don't know, some weird self surgery. I don't know, but that's their plan. They have to clone the older Wally so that they can get a body. Remember in 52? Yeah, when Booster as Supernova needed to have Booster Gold's body, so he went to the future and got his own corpse. Yeah, I don't know if this is a reference to that, but it was done much better in that. Um, so yeah, again, the whole idea that they make a clone and that they have to kill the clone to keep the time loop stable, because now young Wally will go piss off and eventually become old Wally, who will continue on and he'll go to prison. Yeah, that's this book. Not a good murder mystery. Not a good therapy story. In fact, like I was pointing out, Tom King undermined his whole story here with Wally West. And remember the Puddlers? Remember how that was being built up? Yeah, that was, it was mentioned a little bit in the previous issue, if I recall. But yeah, that was just a red herring. Oh, remember when he sent the tapes to Lois Lane, and he mentioned he wanted to get the word out to people, because somehow he was able to use the Speed Force to record it all, which made no sense. Yeah, didn't I'd have to pull out a previous issue. Didn't they say that if Lois didn't print it, they would send the tapes to another company, another publishing company, another newspaper or whatever? Um, what was that about? I mean, obviously he would know to send it to Lois Lane, um, and because obviously Wally West would know about Lois and Clark. So, what was that about? That was just the Puddlers, that news story that was bad. It was supposed to be red herrings, but it didn't even fit in. The idea was bad. This is Wally West who, you know, he's well, Wally West is not really the super smartest guy, but he is smart. He's not this dumb. Booster Gold's not this dumb. This story would have been a lot better had it not been the murder mystery. Had it started off with Wally losing control and killing everyone, and then the rest of the DC universe, or even these characters, trying to hunt him down. Trying as he enacts this insane, you know, circular plan to kill himself. Um, the story would have worked had it not been for the murder mystery angle. It would have been more interesting that way. But again, the mental wellness thing, it fails on that too. Because, like I said, he has his breakthrough after he leaves Sanctuary. And one thing you do find in the dialogue and you do see is that Sanctuary is now reopened again. So, yeah, it's just business as usual. After what happened, more heroes, and that's what we're seeing here. These scenes here are not like old ones, but apparently they're from new visits. Someone even comments that, I'm glad you reopened. This series. I say this a lot. I can almost see um, what they were going through, and the idea wasn't bad. But to try and make a murder mystery and a mental health history, a story, um, it failed on both, and that is a lot of people, myself included, said, from the very beginning, this felt like Identity Crisis. And, I think DC might have even said it was like a spiritual successor to Identity Crisis. And it is. At its heart, it's not a bad story. It could be a good story, but it's delivered, executed so poorly, and you end up with a ruined character. Wally West's character is ruined. You did not need to have Wally with all this blood on his hands. Um, it, we have this nice little time travel bit here where he ends up fixing himself, but all the other characters, still dead. They once the time travel element was brought up, you thought, okay, maybe they could fix it. And you know what else is really bad is you see Wally being upset. He's upset about his family. What about the other people he killed? What about Arsenal? Yeah, his buddy all the way back to the Teen Titans. Yeah, not even a mention in here. Not even mentioned. It's over at least. This book is done. And, apparently we do have a new Wally West book coming down the line. And the last panel is actually the blue electric the blue electric effect that is associated with Wally while Barry gets the yellow. There's an effect of that forming the classic Flash symbol, with the, kind of Z, thing. Instead of how Wally's is more like Justice League, it's just the doo doo doo, it's making that symbol. I don't know if that means anything, but it's something I did notice. Um, but yeah, he's now supposed to be going into a Suicide Squad type um, book. Why? Why? Why bring Wally back to be Hope if you're just going to make him this dark character? That he was already missing his family. He already lost everything. Now he's lost more. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then they put him in prison by himself. Yeah. I'm sorry to spoil the ending on that. Yeah. Justice League doesn't really know how to take care of their fallen friends, do they? Remember the fall of Arsenal? Yeah, you remember how they treated him when he got his arm cut off and went back to drugs, and Dick Grayson as Batman when he was filling in for Bruce started beating him up saying, I'm your friend. Yeah, they really know how to treat their buddies. So what do I rate this? I've gone on for 25 minutes. What do I rate this book? I'm gonna go I'm gonna go 3 o'clock. And that's even a little high. The only reason is that these panels, they're good. They are really Clayman really sells the emotion in here. You see these scenes like this. Um, the scene with even in the background, we have Harley just holding on to Poison Ivy. You know, you know, it works. Those scenes work. The confessionals, like I said, there's more of them. You get to see some of the other characters. I feel these are rushed, but when the art works, it's really good. Um, I really like Clayman. But the story is is what takes it down. Had the pages all been like no dialogue or maybe blank speech bubbles where we could write in our own story, I would probably give it a 2. Yeah, I would probably go 2 o'clock, but 3 o'clock because the story makes no sense. It's stupid. Um, and his plan doesn't make any sense. And yeah, it's done. Thankfully, this is done. Somehow, I stuck through to the end of this series, knowing it wouldn't get any better, and it didn't. We just ruined a character. We have all kinds of dead characters, and I don't like killing off characters just for a death count. Because there will always be people who like, whatever obscure character. Like Blue Jay, who was killed in the first issue. Um, I've mentioned I'm a big JLI fan. I liked Blue Jay. I thought he was a cool character. He's also one of the at the time one of the few gay DC characters. So surprised no one complained about that. Now that I think about it, or maybe they did. And I just forgot because they complain about everything. So, but I'm complaining about this book, but it's done, and we have a Doomsday Clock this week. Yeah, we got Doomsday Clock this week, so I'm gonna have to get to that. So anyway, thanks for watching. I went on a little too long, but ugh, I just kind of want to, but I won't. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.